The Post Newspaper Podcast, your community news.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming back to the podcast. My returning special guest is Ginger Simon with the Houston Irish Stew Cook-Off. Ginger, good to have you back on.
Nice to be here. Thank you for
Good.
having me.
So I'm seeing the notifications going out on social media about the Stew Cook-Off, and I wanted to have you come on as I have the last couple of years and update folks on what might they expect this year, if there's any changes, if there's returning guests, et cetera, et cetera. So let's start with the basics. When is it, and what is it?
It's a Houston Irish Stew Cook-Off and Music Festival, and we have a new venue this year at Woodland Social, which is not in the Woodlands. We've had a lot of people go in the Woodlands. No. If you're familiar with White Oak Music Hall, it's just 2 blocks over north from them, at North Main and East Woodland Street. It's 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's a very, very big venue than we've had since Lucky's, and lots of parking, lots of free parking. And then we also have the indoor and outdoor stage as usual. So with their setup, it's a brand new facility. They've only been open since April. And I think it's going to be just a really great venue for the next few years. We're going to be able to grow into it very easily. They have a huge backyard. They've got a kid area, volleyball courts, lots of seating inside, lots of seating outside. And it might look a little empty if we don't get everybody out there, though. So we need to get as many people as possible because it's so big. But I think the backyard area is really nice. I think people will be really like it. It's not grass, it's AstroTurf.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
easy on everybody.
Okay. Now, looking at the website, it's the 18th annual, so 18 years. So talk about the evolution in the cook-off all these years, 18 years on.
Oh, it's been a ride for sure. We our first one was Alabama Ice House. And we went from there to Brown O'Neill's, if everybody remembers the Brown O'Neill's.
Mhm.
And from there, I think we went to the Continental Club next.
Okay.
I can't remember. We either did the Continental Club for 2 years, and then we did, I think we went Continental Club 2 years, and then we went to McElroy's on Sandman in Richmond for 2 years before we found Lucky's, where we landed at Lucky's. We just kept outgrowing the space. I think it was Continental Club first. And then at Lucky's with the pandemic, they made it out of the pandemic like some, and couldn't quite still catch up, and sad to lose that location. Little Woodrow's has that location now, and I think they're doing very well. They've redone the space and it looks really nice, but it just wasn't a good match for us for
Mhm.
this time. But we went from Lucky's to Main Street, and those people bought another venue and closed that venue down. So we followed them to the new venue because they had a huge backyard. And that was great to spread out in. They had a big deck, and it was like 100 by 100 square feet.
That's
So it
pretty
was just a
good.
massive space. And we basically outgrew that as well.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that, but there wasn't a lot of parking was our problem. And they're no longer proprietors of that venue as well. So we kind of looked around, and I talked to some people, and we found Woodland Social.
Hmm.
It's a little different style venue than we've been at before. It's very modern since it's so brand new, and it's a different aesthetic for some, but it's also very open, and it has a lot of glass walls that actually convert into doors. So that's what makes it very, very open feeling, and it's very nice. They have couches inside and benches and tables and chairs and lots of different kinds of seating. They serve a lot of frozen drinks. So we're going to have at least 3 on a special for us, for our group, at $8. And hopefully we'll have a nice warm day this year compared to last year. Last year was way too cold.
Okay. Okay.
And
So is the cook-off a standalone event, or is it an event that's used to support another event? Like, because a lot of people will do cook-offs, and it's a cook-off might um, come before like I'm thinking in the Pasadena area where I grew up, there's a cook-off and it kind of supports the rodeo.
Mhm, mhm.
Does the cook-off support another event, or is it standalone?
It supports the Houston St. Patrick's Parade, which is now in its 64th year. and we'll be downtown again this year. But yeah, it raises about half the money we need for the parade. The other half is through sponsorships like Guinness and other partnerships we grow through the years. It also supported by everybody, every single person. We have something called the Irish 100 Club that also supports it, and it's basically a individual can put in $100 and be a sponsor of the parade. And we
Mm,
list you on the website, and you stay up there. So I don't take everybody down every year like I do the big sponsors, because those are, I want
right.
everybody to see their name and know who's sponsored year to year. And as individuals, our hard-earned money is hard earned. And I want everybody to recognize, through the years that have contributed. So I try to leave them up, through web changes that's not been so successful, but successful. But yeah, and we try to recognize them as we see them and things like that. So,
Mm.
but so we have the cook-off benefits the parade, and then we have sponsors and our Irish 100 Club as well.
Okay. So in addition to good Irish stew, what other fare may be there? Is it just stew, or is there other kind of food that's available as well?
Other kind of food, and it's just like a regular cook-off. It's where you can get samples of everything. So for the donation at the door, it's all day long you're eating. So, and you have the music as well. So we start off with Irish coffee at noon. So if you want a fresh Irish coffee, that's what they do, the turn in at noon. So there's coffee starting at noon or earlier sometimes. And then we do Irish dessert next, because sometimes things are coming out of the refrigerator and we want them, as prone to the most perfect time to serve as possible. So they don't necessarily have to be made there because of that. But all the other dishes have to be made on site. Um, and then we have open Irish dish. So anything Irish can be entered. Not, if you think Colcannon or you think, bangers and mash, or you can do lamb sliders,
Hmm.
anything that has an Irish theme to it, or an Irish traditional dish is always usually a favorite of the judges, of course. And then we have like a chef's specialty. So if you have a specialty of your own restaurant or your family specialty, you want to come out with your family and have a team, you can put in whatever you want. It used to be a chicken dish, but we
Hmm.
kind of thought, well, this might help bring other things. Not everybody wants to cook chicken, and some people don't like to do chicken outside. Um, and then we have, of course, Irish stew and chili. So everybody can do chili, I hope.
Oh yeah. It's Texas. You got to know how to make some kind of chili.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you mentioned families and or restaurants. So is this the cook-off open to anyone, or is it open to specific people?
It's open to anyone, restaurants, bars, families, individuals. We've had chefs enter, just them that they themselves come and compete, and we've had the whole restaurants come and compete, and people come in as a family and make a big family weekend out of it, especially right after Super Bowl, when everybody's off doing their own friends, kind of thing usually. It's nice to bring everybody back together first time after the holidays and really just have a fun time outside, and it's a good time for families. We also do some entertainment for the kids, so that's not, even if you have little ones, we'll have a bounce house and maybe some other little games out. We'll have to see what we come up with.
Okay, so it's a family-friendly event.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, talk about entertainment for the adults. What kind of music and other entertainers are you going to have there this year?
Well, we have traditional Irish music from Guthries Rangers, and we're doing some showcase event from the Houston Irish School of Music, and then we have some cover bands like Think Lizzie,
Mhm.
so Thin Lizzie cover band. The Blaggards, of course, are always joining us every year as our fan favorites, and we have a couple other bands joining us. We have Feo y Loco for the first time in a long time. They have it's a local favorite, and they hadn't played in a while, and they've started doing some gigs here and there, and they were like, "Are you interested?" I'm like, "Of course." They have a lot of fun music of their own, and they do some covers, so
Okay,
they'll be I think a big hit.
okay.
So it should be a really good time this year.
Okay. So do you have everything booked in solid, or do you still have any potential people who may be coming in, or is it all locked down for the year?
It's not locked down 100% yet. I still have a slot if I find another band we can fit in.
Hmm.
The Houston Highlanders, of course, will kick us off. I didn't mention them earlier. But there's always wiggle room for someone else if they're interested in joining us. I have some feelers out for dancers. We didn't have any last year, but this time we have hard concrete inside. So I
Yeah.
hope to get a few dancers to come out and entertain the crowd. If not for sure next year. We'll
Okay.
try to get coordinated more next year for that with them.
Okay.
And the bands are just the main focus otherwise. Sometimes we have some other fun stuff going on. I have plans for next year, maybe. We'll see.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to let those out too soon. 'Cause I'm sure they're
Yeah.
probably not solidified yet. But Ginger, talk about who comes to these. Is it the diehard, people doing Irish genealogy and the musicians and stuff like that, or is it a smattering of everybody?
It's a little smattering of everybody. With the bands, they have their fans that come in, of course,
Mhm.
but it's, people that are interested in just some foodies. We'll get a lot of foodies sometimes, because we'll have guest judges and they'll market us to the foodie world, because it's definitely a different event than anywhere else in Houston.
Right.
Because the food's different. We're not doing crawfish and we're not doing barbecue. Everybody's used to that. So it's a lot of fun in that regard. So the foodies love coming in packs, if you will. And families, like I said, young, old. It's a nice day just to have a drink, listen to music, enjoy the scenery. It's going to be every year it's just really just a nice, fun day of meeting people,
Mhm.
people you haven't seen in a while. And I think the location is nice for people to just come and go throughout the day. Don't worry about being late in the afternoon. There's food all day.
Mhm.
We do the awards at 5:30, so that would probably be the latest to come.
Right.
Because everybody's running over to get an award, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's you know, really just all kinds of people. Sometimes we'll have city people running for city council will show up, or this I think most of those have happened now, so this year may not be that year, but
Mhm.
we've had Congress people show up. You just never know who's going to show up to this event. It's really a lot of fun and a lot of different kinds of people.
Okay. And if you didn't mention it already, when does it kick off? So you said the awards are at 5:30. So when does it start and when does it actually end? When do those doors close?
11 o'clock is when we
Okay.
open the doors, and music and entertainment starts at 11:30. It just kind of gives everybody a chance to get in, get a drink, find their friends, get a spot, to settle in at. There's lots of tables and chairs, so that's not going to be a problem for this venue at all. They have picnic tables and benches and chairs everywhere outside. So we'll remove some just so we can fit the cooks and the vendors in. Oh, and we have vendors.
Mm,
So that's another thing too.
okay.
So, I think everybody will be real pleased and entertained with the location and the ease to find some place to sit with your friends and have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should it rain out or snow out, we can't rule that out because of, the last week or two that we had
Yeah.
the unusual snowstorm in this area. Will it go on inside or will it be canceled?
If there's too much rain, we'll try to move everybody inside. Like I said, the facility is very large. And inside, I think they seat like 800 people just
Oh,
inside.
okay.
So we can probably squeeze a little more than that if you know what I mean.
Right. Make it fit. Yeah.
So yeah, they have the hardest part would just be like just getting all the music and equipment inside someplace, and we can figure that out if we need to. But that is another reason why I picked the place, so that
Okay.
we can get everybody, as many people inside. Some people, once it starts raining, they're done, and they'll go home.
Right.
But when we understand that, if it's really cold, definitely we'll move inside because last year it was just so cold.
Mhm.
And that's kind of why I left a little bit of a gap so far in the schedule. I'm just waiting on a little weather just to make sure. Last year we started at like 40 degrees at noonish, and it was like 28 by the time we were packing up.
Got worse.
It was so cold.
Yeah.
That front didn't rain on us at least, thank goodness, but it got cold,
Mhm.
real cold.
So are you good with volunteers or can you always use more?
We can always use more volunteers. My mantra is more hands make light work.
There we go.
In the morning, I don't need them all day necessarily, but like I need morning help for setup, and then I need afternoon help for breakdown at the end of the day for the most. During the day, I only need maybe a handful of people throughout the event, but once everything's up and running. But if we can get people in the morning to help, and then some people to stay sober enough to help break down,
Yeah,
that's always a good help. Good help.
right. So finally, if people want to look at a lineup or who's going to be playing when and where the event's at, what might they expect? Where's the best place for them to find that information, Ginger?
The best place to find that will be on the website. Everything's updated on the website right now, but I don't have a schedule yet. So, and then of course, I'll also be posting everything on our Instagram and our Facebook page as we go through the weeks. I'll be announcing all the bands on Instagram. We'll have a press release as well, go out to the press. And that'll have all the bands listed and our sponsors. And I do want to thank Guinness for being a major sponsor of the parade and the cook-off this year. Tullamore Dew has come on as a sponsor for the cook-off for us, and I hope they'll join us for the parade as well. And then we have a number of other sponsors that are joining us, so we'll list those off in the next press release and postings I'll do on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, Ginger, thanks for coming on and updating us. Hopefully we'll see you soon, and I hope it's a good success.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you there.
If you enjoyed this video, consider supporting our effort to share the news in print and on our extensive website, and now on our new YouTube channel. Contact publisher David Day at area code 409-943-4265 to support the Post newspaper today.